Hi, I'm Chad with CD Shave, and thank you very much for joining me for today's face shave. Before we do that, let's get into the holiday of the day. Today's national holiday of the day is National Canine Veterans Day, and I think there's something that people tend to overlook. We do all kinds of things for veterans, but a lot of people forget about the animals that are involved with both the military and police. A lot of canines get killed in line of duty with both areas, and they do get retired, and they get homed after that. Most times with other prior law enforcement or current law enforcement or military, current military or retired military. Just remember, the canines are out there doing a service as well, so today is a day to remember them and honor them. So, thank you very much. Now, let's move on to the shave. Today we're going to be using a straight razor shave on our face. We're going to be using Chiseled Face. This is a sample I've been sitting on for a little while. A little wet. Chiseled Face is called Santa Paula. I didn't actually do a lot of research on this before I shaved with it. It's more of like it's a spicy, it's almost like a spicy citrus, but it's very, very little citrus. That's what I get off of it. At first, when I first smell it, I almost go to bay rum, but it's not bay rum. Anyway, it's really nice. It's like, it doesn't pop like citrus does. It's kind of, citrus kind of rides in the background and makes you say, oh, that's citrus, but you mostly get a nice spice off of it. It's a good scenting soap. I don't have the aftershave with it, but I do have the soap. Captain's Choice Copper Shave Bowl and an America guitar pick. Using Omega Professional Boar. I actually really like boar brushes. I actually like them and then better than most badgers. It's funny because boars have the bad reputation for being lather hogs. I think the badger brushes have worse reputation, for at least for me, for being a lather hog, especially those super high density ones. All right, this is a razor that I tried to do a lot of research, or tried to do as much research as I could. It's Cornor. It's hard to see and pronounce, but it is an older razor. It's a vintage razor. I've cleaned it up the best that I could, except for this groove in the middle here. I got a small rust spot that can be probably easily buffed out. I just haven't had time to mess with it. It hasn't gotten any worse. That's partly my fault. It was sat in a drip of water one day by mistake. Thought it was completely dry, and I set it down, and that's what ended up happening. So, but other than that, the razor's in great shape. So it's got a good edge on it. We're going to go ahead and lather this up, and we'll talk about the shave and other things, other topics that we're going to address today in today's shave. We'll be right back. Gentlemen, we are lathered. There's the soap right there. Plenty of it left in the bowl. I won't need all that, but we'll go ahead and get this lathered up here. Now, a few things. I know some people don't like the water running, but I forgot to fill up the basin all the way, so we're just going to let that run for a little bit. You'll be alright. If not, you can fast forward through this part. A couple things. I was recently talking to somebody, the wet shaving community in general, and the topic of scent and shave, or artisan trends, you know, what artisans are doing and what they're focusing on and stuff like that. I noticed Peter Charkalis is working on a different, not a replacement base, but a different base. Now, I wanted to touch on that because I have mentioned in the past that, you know, I don't feel that artisans need to focus on their bases so much. For me as a hobbyist, it's all about scent. I really, really would like to see more and more scent offerings, and not so much concentration on bases. Now that said, there's a small caveat to that I didn't mention before when I brought this up. And what that is some artisans have like a basic base, and that's okay for their soaps. And then what they do is they have like a Cadillac base to it. Almost like, okay, so this is what you can get. This is a good quality product. It's going to help shave your face really, really well, so on and so forth. Now here's my Cadillac stuff. It's got higher level ingredients to it. It's more money, yada, yada, yada. I don't know if that's what he's doing. I don't want to speak for him. I mean, on his group. He did a video recently in his group. He has a different base that he said is not going to replace the Kaizen base that he has now, or whatever level it is. And I think that's a smart idea. What I don't like is when artisans consistently focus on their base. I think it's a moot point at some point. You know, you can only make it so slick, right? So with him, he flat out said it's not going to replace the original base. This is just something else I'm working on. And I don't know what his plans are with it exactly, but it's, you know, if anything, it sounds like it's going to be on the side. And I think that's that. I agree with her. If you're gonna mess with it, and you have to, for whatever reason you feel you have to have another base, then just make a high-end one and kind of put it off to the side. If somebody wants to buy that type of stuff in that base, then they can. But then the hobbyists who want to still buy your scents, stick with what's originally there, they can do that too. So, what difference does it make? Well, what difference does it make if the whole thing is offered in a new base, or if you offer two? What's the big deal? Because it's the lack of time and energy. I want the artisan that I like to put their time and energy into something that smells good too, not just something that shaves well. And what I've always said before is, I mentioned this on my channel before, is that things shave very well that are out there now. What I'm not overly impressed with as a hobbyist are the scents. I would very much like to see scents that are new and knock my socks off. And I feel like a lot of the stuff gets played with like all the basics. You know, this is our combination of lime and whatever. I don't really care about that. I want new stuff I've never smelled before, or maybe I've smelled before I like a cologne dupe, and I can't get my hands on it because of the obscene costs from the perfuming companies. I don't see enough of that. I want to see. That's why I like Sterling so much, because they produce a lot of cologne-based stuff I've never smelled before, or I can't afford to buy. Man, what a great first pass! This stuff is really slick for me, anyway. You know, if an artist wants to spend their time and money and effort into making a base or a high-end base, whatever. I mean, you do what you want. It's your company. But if you want my business, it's more about scent. Now, if you want to make a high-end base to have it, like, you know, for whatever, people who want to spend the money on it, then fine. Just make sure you offer your scents and the other stuff, too. A lot of artisans make this really high-end, expensive base that's supposedly so much better than the other stuff. And then they justify the rising cost based on, well, because the ingredients that I'm using are so high-end and they're so expensive. Well, then do you really need to be making a high-end base? What was wrong with your one before? So, anyway. So I guess what I'm saying is, to the artisans, if you're going to make a high-end base, that's fine with me as a hobbyist. But if you want to keep my business, then keep your lesser cost stuff in there as well, because that suits me just fine. Still focus on your scents, because again, as long as you keep your original lower cost base, something that's just not astronomically expensive, and you're still focusing on your scents, then you'll keep me as a customer. If you start to lose one or the other, I'm going to go somewhere else. That's why I always stick with Sterling. Their base, I think they've tweaked here and there, but it's nothing crazy. They're constantly coming out with new stuff, and a lot of it's cologne based. So it keeps my interest. And I can go to the store when I hear about it and say, I've never smelled that before. I can go to them and say, spray that on a card, smell it, oh, I like that, and I'll become a customer real fast before. Third and final pass. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the shave has been completed. All the passes are done. A little bit of roughness on here. Smooth. It's a good shave. It's a smooth shave. It's just not quite as close over here. That happens. You know, I don't get a perfect shave every single time. I get a satisfying shave every single time, but a little down here, but I'm not going to chase it. No big deal. We're going to go ahead and with the witch hazel, recently refilled my JD bottle here. I love putting witch hazel on after that. It really does help a lot. Doesn't sting at all. Okay. Alright, so as far as the shave is concerned, this soap is really, really nice. I do like it. It's got a nice spicy scent to it. The citrus kind of keeps it from getting out of control, but you can't really pick up the citrus too much. It's really kind of in the background. It's not like you smell it and you say, I couldn't even tell you if it was orange or lemon or whatever. It's just barely there. It's right in the background. It's a really nice mixed soap, especially if you're into the spicy kind, which some people that bothers, some people it doesn't. Cheers. But I like it. So now I don't have the aftershave that goes with this. Chiseled Face has been around for quite some time. I really do hope that they stick around. I don't see any indication that they're going anywhere, other than I don't see a whole lot of release and new scents. It's the only caveat I'd say about this company. They get a great base, they really get nice products, they get a nice array of offerings, but they don't really come out with new stuff too often. That could be because the artisan is part-time, I don't know. Maybe they're not part-time, but anyway, that said, I'm going to pair it with this, Razor Rock the Stallion. This is not a spice, this is more like an oud. I'm not really sure why I went with this, it just called to me. I was looking around at all my aftershaves, and I thought, what am I going to put with this? This is the one I decided to go with. Now, Razor Rock does not have the most high quality aftershaves out there, but they're nice. This scent is very heavy, and it's unique. I've never smelled anything like this at all. No, nowhere have I smelled anything like it, which is why I continue to keep it in my shave den, and I go to it quite often because it's unique. It's different. So very, very heavy scented though. But all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the shave. Thank you very much for joining me for today's couple of chit chats, my just opinion on a few things, a little bit of review of some shave soap here, talking about some old OG aftershaves, and that's it. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any further questions or comments, put them in the comment section below. Otherwise, feel free to DM me. I am on Instagram as well as Facebook. Feel free. I'll get back to you as soon and if I can. So, until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys and girls in the next.